What's going on? It's Justeeni here. This is a very, very special game. This was sent to me by Chris, and when he sent it to me, he said one word: content. This is content. He was not lying about this game. This was the most content game I've ever seen. But this game isn't just any special game. This is one of the most special games ever because this is part of the tiebreak for the Luxor qualifier finals. So this was Chris's tiebreak game to get to the bracket stage in the Luxor World Championship thingy. So this is very important. Possible chance at making it to top 12, maybe even going to Sweden on the line in this game here. And we'll see how things played out. So keep in mind this is a small lakes, the Luxor mirror match, and yeah, let's just get right into things. So right away, missing a village, unfortunately. But we see now a village and a ruin. And yeah, Star Ruin into meditation because he just got climbing to go on the ruin. Why not follow that with meditation and Philo? Now we're getting Org. And this is a, oh my goodness, double Star Ruin. This is crazy. But this is only the beginning. Now, typical Luxor stuff, going for the early explorers, trying to get I've Got ASAP. That's extremely beneficial for really any tribe, but you'll see for Luxor it's really good for some other reasons. We've seen how mining, because yeah, you actually have a good forge spot. You can place it here, or you can place it here. Pretty snazzy stuff. We're going to see a turn 7 giant. After rushing Philo, we're getting a giant before we even get our altar piece. This is the power of Luxor right here. And now we see a workshop, Arc of Fortune. Just really, really insane development early on. And now fishing, smithery, getting ready to go in the water. And just some really good eco management at this point. And now I see the next explorer, hopefully uncovering a lighthouse, but also getting vision on the opponent finally. It's just gonna barely miss the lighthouse. We can get this one in the west just fine. But we can see the opponent is really first to the water. In fact, their capital actually can get port connections, which is really overpowered for naval dominance. And we can see the second giant. Now, altar piece being placed here. You can slap the Juggernaut, but just kind of look at this map. There's something very noticeable here. So, this map is going to have a huge emphasis on naval combat. And despite this amazing start, getting Philo and a quick economy and an early giant, the opponent has the most insane naval dominance I think I've ever seen. Luxor is a tribe known for good naval, but starting with your capital with naval access, it's extremely, extremely powerful. And you're going to see as the opponent quickly takes over the waters. And now we see an explorer here, very wisely noting that the explorer is going to go, reveal this, and then go all the way here from across the map. Except it doesn't. It wanders away. Just barely. It was not guaranteed. But it was worth risking, because if you get it, you get I've Got. It's absolutely worth it. But yeah, the opponent is putting everything into the water. Juggernaut's invading. And you need to set up a defense really quickly here. So we get another giant. Okay. What do you do about this? Because Vorse, the opponent, can just siege you right now. You get a vet sword. They don't go for the siege. Why don't they go for the siege? Well, because the opponent doesn't quite have vision. And they know if they siege, there is a chance, it is not guaranteed, but there is a chance that this giant could get Houdini'd. And even if it doesn't get Houdini'd, if it gets pushed away, it's going to be stuck on land. And then it'll be basically wasted. That would be bad. But Houdini's even worse because then suddenly the naval dominance gets flipped and basically you lose on the spot if you attack. What Vorst is doing instead here is playing things very carefully. And basically keeping the Giants around, trying to just get as much naval dominance as possible before attacking. Then, if a Justeeni were to somehow happen, you just siege again and win. That's kind of the idea here. Very solid and secure victory. Again, this is a very important game for both players. You do not want to take any unnecessary risks. And you can see now Chris actually kind of setting up a Justeeni potential. So it's no longer a bluff. There could be a Justeeni that just happens. And now we see Aquatism to keep this Juggernaut nice and healthy and start to get some rammers in the water to fight against this naval dominance. But now Vorst responding back with a bunch of rammers, just annihilating this Juggernaut in one turn, taking 0 retaliation damage, and a bomber over here to take out this warrior. And now the city situation is going to be 5 on 5. And also because Chris missed the lighthouse earlier, he doesn't have Eye of God. And the opponent has a chance of getting it with this Explorer here. Now we see Sailing, just trying to hang on here. And the opponent now takes this. This naval dominance, again, is just so crucial here. And we see, yep, the opponent does get all the lighthouses. And, I mean, now the bomber goes back. This is just a beautiful, beautiful position for the opponent. Now we see archery. Archery using ranged units to help defend the coastline. And yeah, the bombers coming in, it's only inevitable that Giants are going to go in and start sieging now because the Justeeni is no longer much of a threat. But that time is not today. More archers. And now another Giant. And once again, still not going for the Justeeni yet, just taking a little more time to set up, just going for a quick veteran warrior siege first. Setting up more naval dominance. Now the warrior goes, and yes, Justeeni possibility is still there for Chris. He's keeping that in the back of his mind. But Vorst doesn't care. He's just gonna keep sitting there and waiting, getting more Giants, getting a stronger naval dominance. What is Chris possibly going to do about that? Chris goes for the siege here. And, you know, he's trying to fight back. Now we see forestry. And a border growth, very interesting here. Border growth, ensuring the Giant can't be blocked in any way, and just gets a lot of space, potential for 2 Giants, if you want to do with math. And we can see the siege, it looks kind of scary, but you can unsiege it just fine. So again, it kind of looks like Vorst is just fine. He's just got a beautiful naval dominance here. And while Chris is fighting back with the archers, and despite the philosophy, none of it really seems to matter here. See a rammer, unfortunately it's not quite enough, unless you were to hit with the archer and then siege. But then you can use bombers to unsiege anyway. And yeah, these archers are holding on, but that feels like that's all that's happening here, is it's just kind of delaying the inevitable. But Chris does not want to give up here. He needs to win this game. This is a must-win situation. But how do you win an unwinnable situation like this? Again, there are 3 bombers in the water and several juggernauts, and the opponent can support with rammers anytime. What do you do? See some archers PPUing away. Pressure on this city. That could be pretty nice. And now we see pop growth. Not getting the Giant yet because it's going to get obliterated. Now, border growth sending up the Giant on defense, kind of ruining your attack here now. And with the catapult on defense, there's really just not going to be any attack here anymore, especially with the city wall. And there's a siege over here. Archers are going to clean it up just fine, but it's kind of hurting your eco a little bit. You'd love to have more stores to work with. Firing away at the Giant, though. Mathematics, getting a catapult, and it's going to get pushed back, which is not quite where you want it. You'd want it to be on this mountain instead to fire away at the city. Start pressuring it, because you need to pressure the city. But again, we have a defense, and we have navigation now, putting a bomber back here where it can't be reached at all. And not going for the siege just yet. Instead, just kind of going around because the opponent can use bombers, they've got a catapult, they can even get a Giant push to defend. It's just not going to work quite yet, so we're just kind of waiting for the right moment. But it looks like the longer we wait, the stronger Force is going to get. But now with this giant here, kind of a little preemptive. Now with the siege here, kind of taking advantage of that mistake. Now giant push here, forced because of the vet sword, not even getting Houdini'd. That's really bad because now all these juggernauts could potentially go in. And we see it doesn't go in, instead just the warrior. Juggernaut's just continuing to get value. Keep in mind, Vorce's only lost one giant and it was actually over here. These juggernauts have just continued to splash around. They're super annoying. Let me see. Catapult go. And now Rider Roads from Vorce. And the same thing from Chris. And he uses the roads with the archers, just takes out a bomber just like that. 2 little 3-star units taking out a big old 17-star unit just like that. And with the pressure really building here, unfortunately it doesn't go for the attack. I mean, 24 turns in, surely there's time pressure. This is a very complicated position. Keep in mind, this is a live game and both players are under serious amounts of pressure, because both players really wants to win here. And now going for the siege once again. And trade. Beautiful market. Using the combination of sawmills and forges. Is this unsiegeable? It looks like just barely. The 2 HP giant just barely gets it done. Vorce can hold on to the city. But things are starting to look up for Chris. He can actually fight against the naval dominance using the archers. And he gets chivalry, now allowing him to pressure even more. Now Vorce is able to unsiege once again. Goes for that hit. Not really worth it because Archer had 2 out of 3 kills though. Again, this live situation pressure is really tough for these players. They're starting to make some mistakes. But now the Juggernauts going back in here, trying to fight for the naval dominance. We see another giant. Is this going to be the comeback? Is Chris going to be able to do it? It's still not easy from this point, despite the Juggernauts are... Vorce has his own Juggernauts in the water, plus the bombers, plus the scouts, plus potential rammers. It's still really hard to get in the water. In fact, these Juggernauts are just getting beaten down. One's already gone, just like that. But now we see a giant push into the port, damaging everything here. Taking this bomber to really low HP, and now it's dead. And Juggernaut splash there as well, being a very dramatic entrance. It's just firing away on the bomber here. Oh my goodness. And now the siege here, forcing these units to defend when they really need to defend the lake right now. And despite the fact that Vorce has had naval dominance for about 15 turns now, suddenly it's being questioned. Again, Vorce is just trying to hold on. He still doesn't even have strategy at this point. Keep in mind, Vorce definitely doesn't have Philo here. He's been focusing all in on that naval dominance. But Chris has so many techs. He has almost the entire tech tree at this point. Knight goes into chain, giant dies, and suddenly Vorce's naval dominance is completely falling apart. The Juggernauts are going down, the bombers are going down, and the defender spam plus the rammers with the quadism is a much stronger force than what Vorce has in store. Oh my goodness. This game has been going on for 29 turns. But it looks like Chris is slowly getting an advantage. He lost all of his Juggernauts though, but he has 2 more that he can throw in the water at this point. And he can get another using no, he has a sawmill there. So these might be his last 2 Juggernauts actually. And the city has still been defended, by the way. Every giant that's been thrown there has gotten taken out. And it's almost starting to look like Vorce is actually stabilized here. But these knights are just going to go in and chip away at this giant, kind of allowing for another round of attack. And the knights going around here. Chris is trying to pressure at every angle he can, trying to distract from the fact that he's trying to take back the naval presence in the water. Vorse is just trying to hold on. Again, tons of pressure, but he's holding on steady. Now, Vorse getting markets of his own so he can get some eco, get the text that he needs. But is it too late? Now Chris walking in with these juggernauts. Knight goes there, just swats the warrior. Why not? Bomber goes in, hits. Knight goes in, and these knights are just running rampant. More defenders, more rammers. Juggernauts are still alive. Catapults on defense though for Vorse. But your naval dominance is certainly being questioned here, and that's all you have here. If you lose your naval dominance, that's it. Everything's gonna fall very quickly after that. And still not having defenders, forced to use warriors to defend, gets the market there. But now the defender siege, denying some income and sending the knights in. But Vorse's units have to unsiege this defender. Can they possibly deal with everything at once? And there's a knight here, veteran now. And the giant goes in, gets a ton of splash. Now Chris is the one that's kind of calling all the shots here with the naval dominance, but we have another juggernaut going over here, another bomber. Oh my goodness, I have to talk really fast to keep up with everything. My goodness. And Vorse hitting the bomber instead of the defender. Does he have a plan for this? No, he doesn't. He lets Chris take the city, but this might prove to be a huge mistake because you're not getting the city back. This defender on the city wall is unbreakable. And now the knights have an easy route through the east and an easy route through the west with an insane chain here. Slight misplay there. Should have gone the bomber first, but either way, this is now completely winning. Wow. Some of the craziest naval dominance I've seen. But the reversal happened anyway. Thanks to the power of philosophy. With Luxador, mind you. This tribe isn't supposed to rush Philo, but in the most important game, or I mean one of the most important games of all time, we see Luxador Philo rush beating an insane naval dominance. Oh my goodness, what a crazy game. Oh my, seriously, this is content right here. But yeah, if you made it this far in the video, say I love you, Chris, because Chris is awesome. Did you see this game? Well, you did because you watched the video. But yeah, this was crazy. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like and sub, and have a good one.